Hello and welcome to the ARTP 2026 Inside the Conference video. So this is ARTP's 50th anniversary year, so it's fantastic for us to be here at the ICC in Belfast. My name is Dr Sylvester. I am ARTP President, and at the conference this year we're going to hear lots of excellent information on research, lots of respiratory and sleep physiology, paediatrics, lots of posters being presented. It's an absolutely exciting time for all of the membership that come along to visit the conference. So welcome to the ARTP 2026 50th Anniversary Conference.
My name's Shakespeare and I am the current ARTP Chair.
And my name's Rutter and I'm the ARTP Vice Chair.
50 years of ARTP, what does that mean to me? The fact that ARTP has been around for 50 years demonstrates the history that we have behind us. Having that history enables us to look back at what we've done, what we've learned, how we've grown, and provides us with an opportunity to use that to be able to further grow and develop in the future. Having looked at ARTP's history in preparation for this year's conference, it's really clear that as a professional body and as a group of individuals, we've made significant strides. Having developed from initially being technicians who were described as those who would make measurements and look after equipment, to now actually evolving into that role of a healthcare scientist. And as healthcare scientists, we are identifying what diagnostic investigations we need to undertake. We're performing those investigations, but we're also managing those patients. So we're providing them with therapies and we're managing their pathways moving forward.
I think what 50 years to me means, when I think about it, is I more look back at what I've seen across my career. And so I started off at ARTP in a very young position and gradually built up and up and up. I think it just shows that ARTP as an organisation is very supportive and it encourages and it just keeps building and building and improving. I think that is key to why it's managed to get to the milestone that it has.
What excites me most about the future of ARTP, and I think every year when we go to the Gala dinner and we see all of the students that have gone through their professional examinations, they've undertaken STP, HSST, and we see those individuals so enthusiastic, so excited to be part of ARTP. And you know that they are the future of ARTP. They are going to be our leaders. They're going to be our next chairs, our next council and executive board members. And I think that's what excites me the most. You see that enthusiasm, so you know that yes, we're 50 years old, but actually we've got the potential to be here for another 50 years.
What excites me about the future of ARTP is that there's more and more people getting involved. It's not just a small group of people, it's expanding. I think that we find it's much more inclusive and we just being more encouraging to try and get support and spread it out. It definitely feels that more people feel open to that, and I think that is what's really important. I think the best thing about the conference is knowing how much hard work goes into making it happen and seeing everything happen behind the scenes, and then to see it all come together during this period is amazing. Like, to see all the hard work be paid off and that side of things, it's phenomenal. I think a lot of people probably don't realise how much work is going on in the background and how many, like, as soon as we finish, we're already starting to plan the next one. And so it's like a year's worth of work all coming together in a 3-day period. And just to see the results of that, I feel is probably the thing that's most exciting.
We're really excited, weren't we, to announce that the conference in 2027 is going to move to Wales. We wanted to go to Wales as a professional body for quite some time. So the fact that we're able to do that now is absolutely brilliant, really amazing. So we want as many people to be able to attend as possible. What we're starting to see is the growth of our conference in that, I mean, I had a really amazing conversation yesterday with a pharmacist who'd attended conference to present their work. We've got loads of allied professionals such as cardiology, SCST are here today. We've got clinical exercise physiologists. The conference would be amazing for them. And we've always had the support of our physiotherapy colleagues as well. So ARTP, yes, it is an organisation that's there for healthcare scientists in respiratory and sleep, but actually our conference is open to a huge array of professional groups who I think would get an awful lot from attending.
Yeah.
Hi, so I'm Dr Sam Irving. I'm a paediatric respiratory physiologist at the Royal Brompton in London. I've just been watching the oral abstract presentation session, and the thing that really struck me this year is the variety of abstracts we've actually had in. We've had everything from them looking at process and how we set up research within our clinical services and within our clinical research services, through to really complex stuff looking at using new techniques to really alter our process. Honestly, I don't know which one I thought was best. I think there's two really big things to consider when we think about the future of respiratory physiology research. The first is that we're moving into a big data era. We've got more data, we've got more information, and physiologists have got the skills to use that data properly. So I think we're going to see some really interesting developments in terms of big data, multi-centre studies, and how we go about using it. The other thing I think is in line with other developments in how we're viewed in our professional roles. I think now's really the time for physiologists to be stepping up as principal investigators for research, and also as clinical academics pursuing their own research. And my highlight of the conference so far has been our poster sessions. It was just really great to see a group of people moving around, talking, collaborating, sharing their ideas, and saying how experiences at their centres are also similar. It was just such a wonderful environment to be in.
So my name's Josh Barnes. I'm a lead CPET physiologist at Royal Papworth Hospital, and this is my research project with one of my colleagues called Scott, looking at the standardisation of CPET across the United Kingdom. So previous study has identified that there's variations of CPET practice in 2018. However, since then we've had the new introduction of the ARTP CPET guidelines. So what I wanted to do was to investigate to see whether this has had an impact on the CPET services across the country. So coming to ARTP to present this research is a great privilege. It's nice to be able to showcase this research to a load of physiologists that all have similar interests, and to hopefully inspire them to undertake similar research or to consider their existing practices. Especially with CPETs, the number of centres that obviously lead these services are probably unaware that the discrepancies among services, and it might inspire them to go away and rethink about maybe whether they need to develop some SOPs, whether they might need to standardise it more, or to perhaps go and try and give support to other colleagues, especially in smaller centres that might need some advice and guidance on how to run their CPET services.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm John Altrip, an accident and emergency registrar from Pilgrim Hospital, Boston in Lincolnshire, and part-time honorary clinical fellow from Royal Papworth Hospital. Speaking to you today from the ARTP conference in Belfast, which is probably the fourth time I've attended this conference. I enjoy coming here because of the diversity of the program, the variety of the work, the friendliness of the welcome which I receive from other delegates. You can easily get bite-sized updates of what's happening at the forefront of respiratory medicine from the poster sessions, and more in-depth detail from the invited talks. I always find I learn something new, I meet interesting people. The culture of the conference is very welcoming, very open. I enjoy coming, and it keeps me up to date with what's happening in respiratory medicine.
Hi, my name's Chloe, and I'm currently an STP training at East Lancashire Hospital's NHS Trust. I've come to the conference today to present my STP dissertation as a poster, and I've also come to network. I really enjoyed some of the talks so far. I've learned a lot about the current trends in research. That was one of my highlights today, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Hi, my name's Holly. I'm one of the respiratory physiologists at Royal Papworth Hospital. I've been there for 4 years now. I've been to ARTP conference for the past 4 years. I like coming here because it's a very nice environment. If you're new to speaking, new to delivering research, you kind of want to learn about what's going on in the respiratory world, get some inspiration, some ideas for future research, but also be able to see what new pieces of equipment are out, bits of device or things like that that can change sort of clinical testing, things like that. But I also like the how comfortable it makes you feel if you've never presented before. It's very nice for someone like me who's quite a nervous speaker.
So my name is Ben Knox-Brown. I'm Asthma Lung UK Research Fellow currently at Royal Papworth Hospital, and I've just finished my year in review presentation this year at ARTP. So the thing that surprised me the most this year is a recent publication in ERJ, which basically showed for the first time that the GLI and GOLD can agree on how to define COPD. And so if you read the statement in full, there's a general consensus that the lower limit to normal is best. Now there is a bit of a grey area in that as well, but I think it's an important development because, as we know, fixed cutoffs aren't always the best, and they can overestimate and underestimate, depending on your age, the prevalence of obstructive lung disease. So for me, having somewhat of an agreement between those two bodies, I think is important. I think from my talk is that as physiologists, we should question everything because we're not always involved in the development of reference equations and setting thresholds for what's normal, what's not normal. Often that can fall to epidemiologists or clinicians. But actually, when you start interrogating the data and the results of these studies, there are often some holes which mean that the guidelines that we use and the reference sets that we use on our patients may not necessarily be the most appropriate. So I think question everything and focus on prospective data collection. So I think the highlight of the conference so far was the slight change to the poster format that was brought in this year, which made it a more relaxed and casual affair, and it looked like a really enjoyable session for everybody, and there was much more conversation rather than just sort of listening to everyone with a microphone. It was much more of a discussive thing, which I think was really good.
I don't want to sort of put my finger on one breakthrough or one technology. I think it's more around directions of travel. So I'm going to be a bit broad picture about it. So I think there is going to be a lot more home testing. So I think there'll be less tests in the lab and much more in the community and in the home setting. I think we're going to move away from doing lung function tests as a snapshot and much more around continuous monitoring. I think probably I would say a really important change that might happen in the next 10 years is that we might be a bit more proactive rather than reactive. We tend to wait until patients get symptoms before we start testing them. I think there'll be a lot more emphasis on identifying lung disease early, before patients have already developed irreversible lung function abnormalities. Highlights of the conference, there have been lots actually. I've really enjoyed all the research poster sessions. I really enjoyed the theme, given that it's the ARTP's 50th birthday, so I've liked the sort of past and present sessions, obviously the future sessions to come later today. So I think they've probably been my highlights.
And the winner is Isobel Briggs.
Hello, I'm Isobel Briggs and I'm a clinical scientist based at Manchester Hospital. I'm part of a few of ARTP's committees such as Research and Innovation, Events, Education and ED&I. Thank you for joining us here in Belfast as we celebrated ARTP's 50th anniversary. We have been able to reflect on the people driving innovation and also look to the future of respiratory and sleep physiology. Until next time.
Is going to be at the ICC in Gala. Yay!